Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at the Henri IV, the tier 10 French heavy cruiser. I'm just going to keep calling her Henri from now on. This ship, well, and to nobody's great surprise, didn't exist. But if we are actually going to look at the French cruiser line, the last cruiser that did exist was the Algerie. The Algerie was in terms of, or in the nomenclature of the French cruiser designs in the 1930s, was the C4 design, and there was a C5 design that was in the works. And that's what we see here with the Charles Martel. The C5s were mostly, or the ideas for the C5s were mostly influenced by, well, the fact that the Italians were building cruisers, the Germans were building cruisers, all of them had 8 guns, and they were all heavy cruisers. And the French kind of had to, well, try and keep up. The French Navy, obviously under the restrictions of the naval treaties, was restricted to pretty much the same size as the Italian Navy. And the idea in general was that in case of war, the British would deal with the Germans in the Atlantic and in the North Sea, and the French would deal with the Italians in the Mediterranean. And such divide up the work between these two, which made the restrictions somewhat, bearable, I guess, for the proud French nation. The C5s were, I'm not sure if they were laid down, but at the outbreak of the war, everything that was currently under construction and couldn't be finished within a reasonable amount of time was going to be cancelled and reviewed anyway, which brought them to the Saint Louis design, which is what we see here at Tier 9. Now, the Saint Louis were actually free of the naval treaty restrictions, and they were quite a bit larger, but also they featured, just like the C5 design, a triple turret setup with 2 turrets forward and 1 turret aft, instead of the 4 twins that were more common among the, like what you see in the Admiral Hipper or in the Italian designs. And lastly, well, the Henri herself, that ship never existed, because even the Saint Louis wasn't really built anymore, because, the fall of France happened, and then naval construction wasn't really a thing anymore. This is an interesting Tier 10 cruiser, in such that she is actually, well, first of all, she's large, right? So if we look at the progression from the Tier 8 to the Tier 9, which is a bit bigger, and then suddenly we get something that's almost battleship-sized. Which is it's a really, really big cruiser. She also has really, really big guns. So if we look at actually let's we'll get into comparison in a second, but let's look at the stats first of this thing. 40,000 hit points is a decent amount. She doesn't have a great amount of armor for a ship that size, but one thing that she is quick. The base speed with 34 knots isn't slow, but it's also not outrageous, but these things get engine boosts. She has 240mm guns. Now, once again, these guns never existed. I haven't even found any hints towards the design, even though the description claims that these were guns that were following a 1930s design. The only 240mm guns that I was able to find were older, I think, Dreadnought guns from quite a while back. But yeah, these are big guns, and they actually reload pretty quickly as well. As is usual with the French cruisers, she gets torpedoes, 2 triple launchers, 1 on each side, not a massive amount, and the AA is not terrible. Especially this small caliber AA actually has a decent range, and it is for surface detection with just over 9 kilometers for a ship that size isn't actually that dreadful either. So what are we going to compare her to? Well, first of all, we're going to have to clear out the leftovers from Monday. But obviously, if we're looking at Tier 10 cruisers, the Des Moines comes to mind. But I think the other things that we might want to look at are definitely the Hindenburg and something large and Soviet. The Moskva probably comes to mind here, even though it's now a premium, because she also has pretty big guns. So let's have a quick look, and we'll start out the other way around. We'll start out with the Moskva and see how these two compare. Now, the Henri is comparable to the Moskva in terms of armor, but not in terms of health. She is definitely quicker and noticeably more maneuverable, especially when it comes to the engines. The engines for a ship that size are pretty amazing with a 14-second time to full speed. The Moskva, having 220mm guns, is obviously a little bit behind. It's got better range and slightly faster reload, but the French have a bigger caliber, do more, and a much better chance of setting fires. Also, the French ships get rapid reloads. Obviously no secondaries, but torpedoes in return. And let's have a look at the Henri versus Des Moines. Des Moines now being slightly different in that it is not a massive ship like that. And has noticeably, the Des Moines is better armored, we give her that. And I think is also a smaller ship, all in all. But the engines can't quite keep up. She can't keep up in speed, but she is definitely noticeably more maneuverable. Where it gets really interesting is the range, because the 203s on the Des Moines have a range of just under 11 kilometers, whereas the Frenchman has a 13-kilometer range on these things. And obviously, given that they're 240mm, they are going to be hitting harder. In return, the Des Moines, also having a rapid reload, but has almost half the base reload. So the Des Moines is well known for having to be played more aggressively, but having an absolutely brutal damage output. In return, once again, no torpedoes, and the Des Moines AA is only second to the Worcesters. But interestingly enough, once again, the surface detection is actually not bad on the Henri. And lastly, let's have a quick look comparing her with the Hindi. And obviously the Hindenburg having significantly better armor and slightly more health. But, well, she doesn't have quite the range with the 203s, but she has a faster base reload, doesn't get a rapid reload though. And, well, even though on paper the French ones hit harder also on the armor piercing, the German guns are, well, the German guns. So comparable, definitely, but she gets another turret, so that's kind of compensating for these things. And in terms of torpedoes, much shorter range and just very situational, but lots of torpedoes. Maybe the last ship we need to check is the Zao, and the reason we're looking at the Zao as well is because HE spammers, because that's certainly an area where we would see the Henri. Now let's compare these two. And once again, we're seeing that they are very comparable in terms of armor, and the Zao doesn't have quite as much health, is noticeably more maneuverable though, doesn't have the range, but gets 12 guns, obviously, a comparable fire chance, and actually lower high explosive damage, plus the Henri gets the rapid reload. Once again, this kind of being a factor. Torpedoes obviously being better on the Zao, that given that she's a Japanese ship, and so is the surface detection, but not by that much, once again. So what does that leave us with? We're going to look back at the Henri, actually. There she is. So what does that leave us with? She doesn't quite fall into the, I would say, supercruiser trap, where you have ships that have battleship maneuverability, but don't have battleship range and don't have battleship armor. She is not as sluggish as the supercruisers. The guns are firing faster, and she is definitely a ship that you would play to her strengths. She's a well-balanced ship. She has strengths and weaknesses. The strength are the guns and the speed. These 240mm guns are great. They are really, really good. Both the high explosive is excellent for HE spamming at battleships and kiting away, and with a 13-kilometer range, doing a very, very good job at this. And with the rapid reload, having a fearful burst damage and fire chance that they can set out. And the speed, she goes over 40 knots with the engine boost on. This thing can actually overtake Japanese torpedo boat destroyers. Which can lead to hilarious situations that once you've spotted the Shimakaze is in trouble because she can't run away from you. These things are this fast. On the downsides, the armor is lackluster, and the ship is massive. So you do have a lot of you do have a hard time, I find, playing in a bow tanking position. So if you can't play her to her strength, because if you're in a position where you have to be in the center cup because all the battleships decide that they don't want to be, and you have to play the battleship role, you're gonna struggle in this ship. That's what I found, because the ship is just such a large target, and you are constantly facing Vermonts and Yamatos, and you really, really don't have the armor to tank that sort of stuff. So being in a situation where you have to take point, this ship isn't ideal because of its size. Now, it somewhat compensates with the very, very good engines, which allow her to move back and forth quite a bit very quickly. But you're still such a large target, and that even the slightest angle allows somebody to get a lot of shells on target, and can make relatively short work of you. So ideally, you want to use the range and speed to your advantage, such that you will it compensates for the large size of the ship. And kiting away or running flanks or stuff like that is where this ship shines. Against cruisers at close range, also very, very good with the armor piercing. So how have we set her up? Equipment-wise, the dispersion is, in typical French fashion, rather questionable. So I am recommending the main battery mod 3 in the first slot. And I am actually running her with double rudder because the engine is very, very good to begin with, and it's a really large ship. That gets us down to a turn time of just under 9 seconds, which isn't great, but for a ship that size isn't also completely terrible. And it makes it workable to dodge the occasional salvo, especially at range. We have a choice between more speed and acceleration, which is good, or the elite gun operator for faster reload and better traverse, which is also very good. So I think each of these is a very viable choice. I have put a level 10 commander in here. So we've got underwater protection and torpedo alert in the 2. Artillery maintenance and victorious charge. Obviously, I personally play her with fire supremacy for an additional rapid reload. You don't have to, because I think, let's quickly check, because I think she gets 3. Yeah, she gets 3 rapid reloads, 3, and 3 engine boosts. So that'll give you 50% reload for 15 seconds. So she goes down to 6-second reload for 15 seconds. You don't have to. I personally prefer to have a 4th one, just for the end game. I have the exploit weakness on because against battleships at range, the armor piercing is okay, but the high explosive is better. Because if you can, because of the rapid reload, because if you can do things like force a Damacon and then flop on the rapid reload and suddenly have a 6-second reload on these things and have a 9% fire chance, you have a fairly decent chance to set permafire. So that's kind of where I'm coming with this one here. Fully prepared. I do have adrenaline rush, actually. You could take the extinguisher. It's a valid choice. The AA is okay, but she can't stand up on her own, and you will take damage from carriers. Engine overload, absolutely, because you have three engine boosts, and you should make the best out of them. They are lasting long, and the ship is very, very quick with the engine boost on. Such actually that oftentimes battleships you will find will aim short, because they don't expect these things to be faster than most destroyers. And the master reloader obviously being a no-brainer here as well. Would you take IFHE or APCS? Personally, I would probably take APCS, because while the armor's piercing is good, it's not German levels of good, and it could be better. I think with the APCS, you definitely do more damage to cruisers, and you might be able to fish the occasional citadel on thinly armored battleships as well, using the armor piercing, which would give you a nice kind of choice. So you definitely need to switch your guns around here. For the camo, the historical camouflage gives us range, torpedo range, traverse, and surface detection, which are all really, really good things. Especially that the surface detection is pretty good to begin with, and such is the range as well. So this is thoroughly recommended. Plus, it's pretty. It's all blue and French-like. But of course, we're currently going to sail out just with the regular thing. The battle honors. Let's have a quick scan on that. 20 battles, obviously not a problem. 1.8 million damage is just a matter of grinding. 40 cruisers, yes, with the armor piercing especially. 90 ships is going to take a while, but doable. And 105,000 points of damage is definitely doable as well. Plus, this is a tier 10 ship, so we're getting steel out of the whole business in a not insignificant amount. Because it's 1, 3, 5, 8 pieces of steel, all in all, if you grind your way all the way through it. Alright, enough talk, let's fight. In the first round, we are on fault line. I really don't like that map very much. In base capture, and we're up against obviously tier 10s, but I think it's, except for that one Fletcher over there, it's a complete all-out tier 10 battle. We've got Midway, Double Yama, Mino, Zhao, Nevsky, and Fletcher. So you don't really have to be afraid of anything too much, except for the carrier, if you're on your own, because you have a very, very big ship, and it's not that maneuverable that you had any chance of dodging, and the AA is not sufficient to defend yourself because she doesn't get the defensive AA or anything. And we're spawning, but yeah, against battleships, HE, against other cruisers, AP, always kind of a good choice. Spawning over here with the Shimakaze, so I am going to do what I can to keep that Shima alive here, if the carrier comes around this way, and try to go for the bait, right? And you see with the engine boost active, you go 40.7 knots, which means I'm actually going to overtake that Shimakaze wherever he's going. So yeah, it looks like the carrier is coming our way, and I can take a hit from the carrier. The Shima can probably not. So if he does come our way, then we'll see how this goes. It looks like the friendly fighters have been pulled. It would have been really useful over here. Yeah, I'm spotted, and a lone cruiser at over here. Yeah, carrier is coming for me, isn't he? Okay. You can do what you can, and there's a Zhao as well. Yeah, I'm going to take those, and I'm going to take those. Okay, so that's 2 fires, but I'm almost able to damage con that away. Zhao can lob these. I'm not sure if I can. I think I do. Yeah. So I'm going to return the favor, but then tuck in here, and just in case the Zhao realizes that I just damaconned. And drop some torpedoes in that general direction just in case there's anything coming out. But yeah, Shima, you probably don't want to go out there. There's a Zhao, and there's a battleship to back it up. So just in case and there's a destroyer as well. Okay, I think I need to vacate this area for now because my damage con's on cooldown. There's a very unfortunate Minotaur. This is not how you Minotaur. You're not in a good position there, my friend. So let's see if we can evict that guy before he gets a torpedo drop off at our battleship. And yeah, this is where the French accuracy comes in, because yeah, in a Hindenburg that would have been a dead mino. Let me put it that way. Okay, my damage con's almost on cooldown. It's almost off cooldown, so I'm backing off a slight little bit here and switching off to the high explosive, and just kind of generally asking we're asking the carrier to, hey, please, could you do something about these planes over there and maybe scout that destroyer, because we know there's a destroyer there. There's also a Zhao there, and the enemy carrier is going for the Shimakaze, so Zhao is still insisting on firing armor piercing at me for some reason, which is much welcome. But if he decides that he wants to burn me down, then I don't stand much of a chance of doing anything about him from here out. So yeah, please, carrier. Yes, there's the Fletcher, and yeah, the Fletcher has just taken out our Shima. So we heal. Now, at long range, firing at destroyers, and I kind of have wasted my rapid reload there. I thought the Fletcher was going to open up at me maybe, or would have been staying spotted for a little bit longer, but yeah, it hasn't really happened. Now, at long range, hitting destroyers is reasonably difficult. I don't know what the carrier is doing. I don't see any friendly planes in the air, so no idea. But I think I need to vacate this position, because yeah, you don't want to brawl destroyers. You do want to kite away from these things as much as you can, and you can, because you are faster than most of them. Okay, I'm unspotted, I'm respotted, which means the Fletcher is definitely chasing me. And there's a Yamato. Okay, so that's a problem, obviously, because the Yamato is shooting at me. And that means I need to get going. So Never mind, there's one fire. He damage cons a single fire. Unfortunately, I don't have the rapid reload ready quite yet because I just wasted it on the Fletcher. But yeah, go. Try to set another fire and just use I'm using the engine boost here. And I'm just going in a straight line more or less. And most of these shots are falling short because he is underestimating how fast I am actually going right now. No luck with the fires so far. My rapid reload is ready, but by this point his Damacon is probably almost off cooldown. Yep, there comes some Fletcher torps. Not much I can do about these. But I think they might not have range because I am a little bit far out. Yeah, well that worked. Okay, we've got the Yama to overshoot. Now we've got a fire. Is he Damaconing it? Is his damage con on cooldown? It might not be. Okay, so let's see if we can set another one here. And just get the rapid reload out. And we're moving forwards again, just in case Yamato has gotten the idea. A bunch of my shells are just duds, which is a little bit annoying, especially if you're trying to do this thing. And that was a better hit from the Yama, so it's about time that we get going again. My engine boost is almost off cooldown. There's another fire. There's the Fletcher. It's unfortunately not very much I can do about this right now, because if I start to try and engage the Fletcher, then Yamato is going to kill me. Actually, unfortunately, I am running out of map reasonably quickly. And the Yamato is kind of starting to have the range. So yeah, we've lost both destroyers on our side. The friendly carrier, I don't know what he's doing, circling around there on the capture circle. But yeah, we've got Yama problems, so we're just going to try and burn down that Yama. That's a double fire, and either his Damacon should be off cooldown. That's a bit weird that he's not. But yeah, he's still underestimating how fast I'm going. The problem is now I run out of map. That's a triple fire, so I'm saving the rapid reload. I can't turn here because then the Yama is just going to blub me. So we are going to have to reverse and see if we can engage Yama. So rapid reload up again. And hopefully the first salvo is kind of over. No, he's not overshooting. Okay, he's got the range, and we're getting close enough that I can't really dodge anymore. The carrier is coming around now. It'd be really nice if he was doing something about the destroyer, but I can probably kill the Yamato, although I might probably die as well. So yeah, a little bit of help on the Yama is actually appreciated. Thank you, carrier. Unfortunately, yeah, going backwards, the Yamato is going to probably kill me with the next salvo. So unless I get permafire set or I get the torpedoes away. So I get the torps away, I'm dead here. And by the looks of it, we're one kill down. There's 30 seconds left. I don't think I can actually survive this. Next Yama salvo is going to kill me. There she goes. Okay. But I'm going to take him down with me, and the battleship is worth more than a cruiser. So we've still done a good trade here as much as possible. But yeah, it's just the carrier left at this point. The rest of the team has completely collapsed. So that was that. But so if I had been in, let's say, a Zhao, I mean, I haven't played the Zhao, but had I been in something like the Zhao, this would have probably been a different engagement. Because I could have, for example, rushed the Yama, or, well, I couldn't probably because of the Fletcher, or set more fires more reliably. But it's not a bad ship at doing this, right? So, I mean, I've just taken on a Yama in a one-on-one, and we traded. So that was not a terrible piece of work. Yeah, we seem to have had an AFK Republic here as well, which doesn't help things. And yeah, Shima dying early, and the other destroyer. Anyway, 80,000 points of damage is not bad. So let's go again. In the second map, it's not a carrier battle for this time. There's one bot on each team, so we'll ignore these. But we've got Monty, Vermont, Republik, Stalingrad, Worcester, and Östergötland. So. Oh, we're playing Haven. Yes, Haven. One of the most unbalanced maps in the game. Let's see where we're spawning, north or south. If you spawn south in Haven, yeah, you always have a bit of a problem from the very beginning. The thing is, we're spawning north, good. The thing is, the Henri is this quick that you can get yourself into interesting positions and do stuff as you need, if you need it. All right, so Jutland, you head A. Are you heading A? Okay, then I'll head B. B is a good position, although once again you have to be careful because very, very big ship, so a very big target. but more maneuverable than the super cruisers, definitely quicker. And yeah, once again in a straight line, we're going to do over 40 knots in this thing. And we're just getting the guns ready in case we see any of the other cruisers. We'll be on armor piercing. You can fire armor piercing at battleships. It's not that it doesn't do damage. The 240mm guns are very, very nice. But the high explosive and just setting fires is usually the better choice. If you got things on triple fires, you can switch over to the armor piercing if you want. But against cruisers, AP is the weapon of choice. Against destroyers at long range as well, although it wouldn't engage destroyers at long range. Okay, I'm spotted. That's the DD. Worcester. Okay, it's the bot DD I'm going to ignore. Worcester might be getting some shots on, and there's Stalingrad. So we're stopping right here. And then get the rapid reload on and start lighting up the Stalingrad over there. And see if we can make him regret his life choices. He's shooting at other things, but he's a bit faster than I thought he was going to be. So he's not shooting at me, so I can turn around. The shells are not the quickest. They have a fair bit of hang time to get there, and but they do hit reasonably hard. So does the Stalingrad, obviously. But there you go. You can definitely citadel other cruisers with these shells perfectly fine. Okay. This is about as far forward as we want because we have range almost at the other end of C-Cap. So now we can start lighting up Worcester over there. And just keeping my nose in case some of the battleships get funny ideas. I don't want to be too giving too much broadside. We've got Buffalo as well. Buffalo obviously doesn't have the range, but at 12 kilometers I can very comfortably still hit the Worcester. I might not be able to citadel him at this range, but it's still a good choice of ammunition. Okay, there's Republic. Is he shooting at me? Probably not. They seem to be shooting on one of the battleships. Oh, that was a bunch of bounces from the Worcester there, but yep, that's the bot Hugo not caring about this one. And we'll just see if we can do something about Worcester. He is getting a little bit at long range here, so we are running out of range. Which means we're going to have to switch targets here and start lighting up Republic. And French battleship, yeah, you can fire armor piercing. I've had it loaded right now. Montana, we can also fire AP if we want to, because burning down Montes is reasonably difficult. Oh, that's probably Stalin shooting at me. We're clumping up a little bit too much here. So I'm going to use that Vermont as a meat shield and then get out of here. And see if I can get myself into a nice flanking position. We have lost 2 ships. Oh no, Venezia takes out the enemy Östergötland. Well done. That means we are even on kills, and I can start doing what this ship really does best, which is kiting from long range. So we'll be kiting the Monty, and yeah. He hasn't been shooting at me last time. Let's see if he changes targets. If he does, he's going to get slapped by the damage cons a single fire. He will get slapped by the battleships, hopefully. Somebody could kill that Worcester. That'd be great. I'll do it if nobody else wants to. I'm just going to try and set a permafire on Monty over there. I'm just stopping here because nobody seems to be shooting at me. Okay, that's one permafire. Can we get another one? Rapid reload up. And shots out, and the second salvo goes out before the first one even hits. That's how rapid firing these guns are. Okay, I am taking fire from something here. Is that Worcester? Is Worcester taking me under fire? Okay, back to the armor piercing and see if we can. Yes, it's Worcester. And see if we can still get a shot off at the Worcester. Nope. He's behind the island. Okay, not gonna Damacon single fire. It's not with the Worcester shooting at me. Triple fire, though, is a different kind of story. There we go. Alright, I've still got one heal. And Worcester is... Yeah, I'm still taking shots from something else there. Okay, Worcester is changing his mind where he wants to engage. Because my guns... Worcester is a sturdy ship, but my guns will definitely make very short work of that thing. So I'm getting ready to switch back to the high explosive once the Worcester is dead. And start lighting up the battleships again. Okay, seems like it's taking more and more salvo. Just using the islands to shield myself from the Stalingrad and the battleships over there. And that should be the end of the Worcester, so back to high explosive. Yeah, Worcester dead. Oh, Stalin is over there still. Okay, could have used the armor piercing. Okay, back to AP. Shots out at Stalin. And then rapid reload on. Yeah, Stalin's still a little bit faster than I thought he was going to be. Okay, that's one fire. He damacons insta-fire. Whoa, come on, everybody. Could have stuck with our explosive then. But with something relatively lightly armored like the Stalingrad, I will use the armor piercing, because look at the sheer amount of damage I'm doing. And that's a nice smoke. Thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. You see that? That's why you want to fire armor piercing at cruisers. And the Stalingrad, for all intents and purposes, is a cruiser. So that's a dead Stalin. But I'm on my last heal. I've used all my engine boosts. I've used all my rapid reloads, and I've still got 2 Damacons left. Yeah, thanks for that smoke. That was definitely helpful. So, but we are 1 kill ahead. We're even on points. So let's see if we can nose in towards one of those battleships over there. I don't know where the third one is, but and there's a relatively low health Monty, so let's open up at that thing. Let's see if he's shooting at me or not. Oh, I got shots out. That's a fire on the Monty. He's Damaconing. Yeah, he has to Damacon that. Oh crap, there's the Republic. Okay, yeah, I'm dead. There's no way I'm going to survive this. Yeah, he's going to take me out. There we go. But yeah, we're still ahead on points, and the Monty is reasonably low, so if the rest of my team is going to manage to do this, then we are... Yeah, Venezia is low on health, but he's in a safe position. Ohio is good, and both Vermont and Monty down there are are super low. Buffalo, if he's smart, it shouldn't be dying to them. And yeah, Ohio should be able to... If he doesn't get himself smacked by Vermont, then he should be fair. He should be fine. And I think we're going to win this on points. Yep. And we've done 88,000 points of damage. It's a reliable ship in that regard, if you can play her to this sort of strength and come out at the top of the team. Now the big question, is it worth it? So I haven't played the tier 8 or tier 9. She's not the best tier 10 cruiser. She definitely is a balanced tier 10 ship. I would say the crown, so far for me personally, for the tier 10 cruisers, still goes to the Hindenburg. And just in terms of her versatility, Des Moines, definitely a very, very good one. I mean, Minotaur is a destroyer, right? Let's be honest here. She's not a cruiser, so she doesn't quite count. But for the actual cruiser role, I'm still very keen to play the rest of the tier 10 cruisers. This is not a bad ship. This is really not a bad ship. And but you have to play her to her strength. So we've had very fluent battles. But when I get myself into battles like Epicenter or Center Cup maps, then it can get very difficult. It can get very difficult to compensate for your team's lack of interest in capturing the center area, because stationary an Henri is not a great ship. A stationary Henri is a damage piñata for the battleships, especially a tier 10 with the big guns that we have. So, yeah, that's the Henri IV, the tier 10 French, really, really heavy cruiser, but not quite battle cruiser, super cruiser. And she just skirts that a little bit, but I think it is still a very good cruiser at tier 10. That's it for today. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.